There are places in this world where logic simply dissolves, places where the map ends and something else begins. We like to believe that for every effect there is a cause. If a door opens, a hand must have turned the handle. If a shadow moves, a body must have cast it. And if a lighthouse shines in the middle of a pitch-black ocean, someone must be there to light the wick. But what happens when the math doesn't add up? Imagine it is the year 1764. You are sitting in a small wooden rowboat, bobbing on the freezing gray waters of the North Atlantic. The air smells of salt, old rain, and ozone. You are looking up at a jagged rock known as the Isle of Morne. It is a lonely place, a place that sailors avoid, not because of monsters, but because of the silence. And there, standing tall against the bruised purple sky, is the lighthouse. It is beaming, a strong rhythmic flash. 1, 2, 3, flash. 1, 2, 3, flash. It cuts through the fog like a golden blade. It guides the ships. It keeps them safe. There is just one problem, one detail that keeps the people of the mainland awake at night, staring at their ceilings in deep thought. The lighthouse has been empty for 6 months. The previous keeper, a man named Silas Vance, vanished without a trace during the great storm of the previous winter. When the supply boat came to check on him weeks later, they found the island deserted. No body, no note. But the most unsettling thing wasn't his disappearance, it was the lamp. The oil reserves were bone dry, the wicks were burnt down to nothing but ash. By all laws of physics, by all laws of reality, that tower should have been dark. It should have been a stone tomb. And yet, tonight, just like every night for the past half-year, the light turns. This is where our story begins. Not with a ghost, but with a question. Meet Elias Thorne. Elias is not a superstitious man. He is a man of ink and paper, a cartographer and an inspector for the Maritime Light Commission. He deals in facts. He deals in longitude and latitude. He does not believe in magic. He has been sent to the Isle of Morne with a simple task: extinguish the unauthorized light, find out who has been squatting in the tower, and shut it down. As Elias steps onto the island, the first thing he notices is the stillness. Usually, islands are noisy. Seagulls cry, waves crash violently, the wind whistles through the cracks in the cliffs. But here, the sound is damp, muffled. It feels like stepping into a library where everyone is holding their breath. He pulls his coat tighter around his neck. The cold here isn't just in the air. It feels like it's seeping up through the soles of his boots. It's a nostalgic cold, the kind of cold that reminds you of a home you can't quite remember. He walks toward the heavy iron door at the base of the lighthouse. He expects to find it open. After all, if the light is on, someone must be inside tending to it. Someone must be carrying the oil up the spiral stairs. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out the master key, a heavy, rusted piece of iron. He slides it into the lock. The mechanism is stiff. He turns it. Click. The door wasn't just closed, it was locked from the outside. If the door is locked from the outside, That means no one has entered this tower since Silas vanished. He pulls the handle. The heavy iron door groans, protesting against the rust, and swings open into the darkness. The smell hits him first. It doesn't smell like rot or dampness or the sea. It smells like ozone, like the air right after a lightning strike, and faintly underneath that, the smell of old paper and lavender. It is a comforting smell, yet deeply wrong for a stone tower in the middle of the ocean. Elias steps inside. "Hello?" he calls out. His voice doesn't echo. The stone walls seem to absorb the sound instantly, swallowing his words. He looks up the spiral staircase. It twists upward into the gloom, disappearing into the shadows above. At the very top, spilling down through the cracks in the floorboards, is that impossible light, the light that shouldn't exist.
He has a choice now. He can turn back, get in his boat, and tell his superiors that the island is cursed. He can choose ignorance. He can choose safety. But Elias, like you, is a deep thinker. He is plagued by the need to know. He takes the first step, creak. Then the second, creak. He begins the long climb. There are 144 steps to the lantern room, and with every step, the air gets warmer. Not hot, just gentle, like the warmth of a person sitting next to you. As he climbs, he notices something on the walls. The stone isn't bare. Elias pauses. He brings his face closer to the cold stone. Scratched into the walls, spiraling up along with the stairs, are coordinates, hundreds of them, numbers, dates, and names. But they aren't random. He reads one at eye level.
"To the one who waits." He reads another a few steps up. "The light is not for the ships. The light is for the time between seconds." Elias frowns. This is the handwriting of Silas, the missing keeper. But the writing is frantic, etched deep into the rock. It looks like the work of a man who was trying to solve a puzzle before he ran out of time. Elias continues to climb. His heart is beating a little faster now, not out of fear, but out of anticipation. He reaches the final landing. The trap door to the lantern room is above his head. A bright, pulsing glow bleeds around the edges of the wood. He can hear the rotation of the great lens. Whir, click, whir, click. It sounds perfect, well-oiled, maintained. Elias takes a deep breath. He reaches up and pushes the trap door open. He stands up and looks at the center of the room. And there, his reality breaks. The massive Fresnel lens, glass cut like diamonds, is spinning slowly, casting its beam out across the dark ocean. But inside the lens, where the oil lamp should be, there is no fire. There is no wick. There is no oil. Floating in the center of the glass prism is a single suspended sphere of blue-white energy. It looks like a captured star. It hums with a sound that vibrates in Elias's teeth. And sitting in the chair next to it is a book. The room is empty of people, but the chair is angled toward the light as if someone had just stood up. Elias walks over to the light. He extends his hand toward the blue sphere, trembling. He feels no heat, only a strange magnetic pull. It feels like memory. He pulls his hand back and looks at the book on the chair. It's a leather-bound logbook. He opens it to the final entry. The ink is fresh, wet, as if it was written 10 seconds ago. The date on the page is today's date, and the entry reads, "He has arrived, the man with the questions. Do not be afraid, Elias. We have been waiting for you to close the door." Elias spins around. Who's there? Silence, just the ocean below and the hum of the impossible light. He looks back at the book. The ink is drying before his eyes. This isn't a haunting. This is an invitation. The mystery isn't that the light stayed lit. The mystery is who kept it lit for him. Elias stands in the lantern room, the impossible blue light bathing his face in a ghostly pale glow. A rational mind is a fortress. It is built of bricks made of cause and effect. But right now, Elias feels those bricks turning to sand. He runs his thumb over the ink. We have been waiting for you to close the door. The ink is dry now. Just moments ago it was wet. Time here feels fluid, thick, like moving through water instead of air. He looks up at the sphere of energy floating in the lens. It doesn't hum like a machine. It breathes. It expands and contracts, rhythmic and silent, mimicking the lungs of a sleeping giant. Elias knows he should leave. Every instinct of self-preservation tells him to run down the stairs, unlock the iron door, and row back to the sanity of the mainland. But curiosity is a heavy anchor, and Elias is already hooked.
He tucks the logbook under his arm. He needs to understand who or what Silas Vance had become. He turns away from the light and descends the ladder, back into the shadows of the tower. He heads toward the living quarters, the small circular room nestled just below the lantern gallery. This was where the keeper lived, where he slept, ate, and weathered the storms. Elias freezes in the doorway. The room is cozy. There is a rug made of braided wool, a sturdy oak table covered in charts, a bookshelf packed with crumbling volumes. But it's the fireplace that stops his heart. A fire is crackling in the hearth, not a roaring fire, but the soft, dying embers of logs that have been burning for hours. The heat hits Elias's face, real physical heat, and on the table, a cup of tea. Elias walks over to the table, his boots heavy on the wood. He reaches out and touches the cup. It is hot. He looks around the room. "Silas?" he whispers. There is no answer, just the crackle of the wood and the ticking of a clock on the wall. But the room is locked from the outside. The island is empty. This tea was made 10 minutes ago. By whom? Elias looks at the clock. It's a beautiful, antique grandfather clock, mahogany and brass. But the hands aren't moving forward. The second hand twitches and moves backward, then forward again. Then it stops. Elias realizes that this room isn't just a physical space. It is a bubble, a pocket of existence that refuses to move at the same speed as the rest of the world. He sits down in the heavy wooden chair at the table. He feels like an intruder in a ghost story.
but the ghost is seemingly hospitable. He places the logbook on the table next to the steaming tea. He opens it to the beginning. To understand the end, he must find the start. Elias begins to read, and as he reads, the voice in his head is not his own. It is deep, gravelly, and tired, the voice of Silas. October 4th, 1763. The storms have been relentless this year, but it is not the wind that worries me. It is the silence between the waves. I have run out of oil. The supply boat is 2 weeks late. The lamp should be dead. But last night I woke up to find the lantern room ablaze. I did not light it. I went up to extinguish it, fearing a fire, but there was no flame, just a presence, a light that felt cold to the touch, but warm to the mind. I think the island is waking up, or perhaps I am finally falling asleep.
Elias stops reading. He looks at the map spread out on the table. He is a cartographer. He knows every inch of this coastline. He knows the shoals, the depths, the currents. But this map is wrong. The coastline is drawn correctly, but the names are different. Where the town of Oakhaven should be, the map reads the Drowned City. Where the lighthouse stands, the map reads the Pivot Point. And there are lines drawn across the ocean that don't follow shipping lanes. They follow something else. Ley lines? Currents of wind? No. Elias traces one of the lines with his finger. It connects the lighthouse to a point in the middle of the deep ocean labeled the Doorway.
Elias looks up at the ceiling. The sound came from the lantern room. He isn't alone, or rather, he isn't alone anymore. He stands up, his chair scraping against the wood. The suspense isn't frightening, it's thick with anticipation. It feels like the moment before a magician reveals the trick. He looks at the teacup again. The steam has stopped. The tea is now stone cold. In the span of 2 minutes, hours of heat have vanished. Time is skipping. But as he reaches for the door handle to leave the living quarters, he notices something on the door frame. It's a carving. Fresh wood shavings are still on the floor. It's a portrait, a crude, small carving of a face. It's Elias. Not Elias as he looks now, but Elias as a child. And underneath the carving, a date. 1734. Elias stares at it. He was born in 1734. How did Silas know his face? How did Silas know him as a child? The mystery deepens. It is no longer just about a light without oil. It is about Elias. He hasn't just walked into a mystery. He has walked into a trap set for him 30 years ago. Elias opens the door and steps back into the spiral staircase. The air is different now. The smell of ozone is stronger, and the shadows on the stairs, they look like they are reaching out, not to hurt him, but to guide him. He looks up toward the light. "All right," Elias whispers to the stone tower. "You have my attention." He begins to climb back up to the light, but this time He notices that the writing on the walls has changed. The coordinates are gone. Now the walls are covered in drawings of a door standing in the middle of the ocean and a man opening it. The man in the drawing is wearing Elias's coat. The lighthouse isn't keeping ships away from the rocks. The lighthouse is a lock, and Elias is the key. But what is it keeping locked in? When you stand on the edge of the unknown, the most dangerous thing isn't falling. The most dangerous thing is realizing that you want to jump. Elias stands on the landing. The air around him is humming, a low-frequency vibration that he feels in his chest bone. It's the sound of the tower breathing. The drawings on the wall, the sketches of him, the door, the ocean, seem to ripple as he passes them, like seaweed swaying in a current. He pushes the trapdoor open once more and climbs back into the lantern room. The blue sphere inside the lens has changed. Before, it was a calm, pulsing star. Now, it is spinning, fast. The strands of light inside the glass are weaving together, forming patterns, complex geometric shapes that look like constellations. Elias walks toward the glass. He doesn't look at the light this time. He looks through the lens. The Fresnel lens is designed to magnify light, to send it miles out to sea. But if you look through it the wrong way, it doesn't magnify the world, it distorts it. Elias squints. Through the distortion of the glass, the ocean isn't empty. About a mile out, exactly where the map in the living quarters had marked the doorway, there is something breaking the surface of the water. It isn't a rock, it isn't a ship, it looks like a reflection. But there is nothing above it to be reflected. It is a perfect, shimmering mirror standing upright in the middle of the waves. Elias pulls back from the lens, rubbing his eyes. "Impossible," he whispers. He looks down at the logbook, which he still clutches in his hand. He opens it again. The pages flutter as if caught in a breeze that isn't there. A new entry has appeared. The ink is silver this time. The ocean is a mirror, Elias. But mirrors don't just reflect, they divide. On one side, the waking world. On the other, the dreaming world. The lighthouse sits on the frame. We are the hinge, and the hinge is rusting. He understands now, or at least he begins to feel the shape of the answer. Silas Vance didn't disappear. He didn't die. He went through. But why Elias? Why the carving of him as a child? Elias closes his eyes. He tries to push past the logic of his job, the maps, the physics, the rules. He tries to access a memory he buried a long time ago.
Elias opens his eyes. He gasps. He remembers now. He was 6 years old. He had fallen off a pier in his hometown. He had sunk into the cold, dark water. He should have drowned, but he remembers someone holding him up. Not a person, a current, a warmth. And he remembers seeing a light deep, deep below him. This light. The same blue, impossible light. "You know me," Elias says to the light. "You've always known me." The sphere pulses in response. A warm, golden wave of energy washes over the room.
The cold dampness of the tower vanishes. Elias feels a sudden, overwhelming sense of calm. The fear evaporates. The mystery without stress takes over. This isn't a horror story, it's a reunion. He looks at the logbook one last time. The instruction is simple. To fix the hinge, you must oil the lock. But not with whale oil, Elias, with memory. Tell the light a truth you have never told anyone else. Elias stands before the spinning blue energy. He realizes that the fuel for this light isn't physical, it's psychic. It feeds on the emotions of the keeper. Silas Vance must have run out of things to give. He burned himself out. Now the light is hungry, but it doesn't want to hurt him. It just wants to stay lit. Elias takes a deep breath. He speaks to the empty room, to the ocean, to the light. I am lonely, Elias confesses. His voice cracks. I mapped the world so I don't have to look at myself. I inspect lighthouses so I can be near the light because I feel dark inside. I am afraid that when I die, no one will notice the map has changed. The confession acts as fuel. The sphere stabilizes, the frantic spinning slows, the humming becomes a gentle purr. The tower accepts his truth, but as the light stabilizes, the beam shoots out through the lens with renewed power. It hits the mirror in the ocean, the doorway. Elias runs to the glass and looks out. The beam has hit the spot in the ocean, and the water is parting. Not like the Red Sea, but like a curtain being pulled back. The ocean surface unzips, and underneath the water, there isn't sand, there isn't darkness. There is a city of spires and lights glowing softly under the waves. It looks exactly like the town of Oak Haven, but perfectly preserved, silent, and underwater. The drowned city from the map. It wasn't a metaphor. The boat is empty. It is waiting. Elias looks at the logbook. The final words on the page fade away, replaced by new ones. The shift is over, Elias, but the journey is just beginning. Will you stay and watch the light, or will you go and see what it illuminates? Elias closes the book. He puts it in his satchel. He looks at the golden sphere. It is stable now. It will burn for days, maybe weeks, on the fuel of his confession. He has a choice. Stay in the tower, safe and warm, or go down to the water, get in that ghost boat, and see where the map really ends. He isn't going back to the mainland. He is going to the water. The descent is always faster than the climb. Elias moves down the 144 steps, but his boots don't feel heavy anymore. He feels light, unburdened. It is a strange sensation to walk away from safety and toward the unknown, yet feel like you are finally going in the right direction. He passes the living quarters. The door is closed. The clock inside is likely still ticking backward and forward, caught in its own private loop. He leaves it be. Some rooms are meant to be visited, not inhabited. Elias steps out onto the rocks. The storm has vanished. The wind has died completely. The air is still freezing, but it is a crystal clear cold. the kind of cold that snaps everything into high definition. Above him, the lighthouse is singing. The golden beam cuts a solid path through the night sky, hitting the water a mile out. And there, waiting at the end of the beam, is the boat. He reaches the shoreline. His own rowboat, the one he arrived in, is still tied to the wooden post. It looks small, fragile, a vessel of the material world. But floating just a few feet away, untethered, is the other boat, the one that rose from the depths. It is made of a pale white wood that seems to glow faintly. It has no oars. It has no rudder. It is not built for sailing. It is built for drifting. Elias steps into the pale boat. It doesn't rock. It accepts his weight instantly, as if he were always meant to be there. He sits on the bench. He places his satchel, containing the logbook, on his lap. "Take me," he whispers. He doesn't need to row.
The moment he sits down, the boat begins to move. It slides silently across the black glass of the ocean, pulled by an invisible current. It follows the golden path of the lighthouse beam. As Elias glides further from the island, he looks back. The Isle of Morne looks different from here. It doesn't look like a jagged rock anymore. Silhouetted against the stars, the island looks like the top of a mountain that is mostly submerged. Elias realizes the truth. The island isn't an island. It is the highest peak of the drowned city below. The boat reaches the anomaly, the doorway. Up close, it isn't a hole in the water. It is a transition. The surface of the ocean here is perfectly flat, but beneath the hull, the water becomes transparent, crystal clear. Elias looks over the edge. He sees cobbled streets. He sees tall, Gothic archways. He sees gardens where coral grows in the shape of rose bushes. It is Oakhaven, the town that disappeared from the maps a century ago. But it isn't dead. He sees movement, shadows walking the streets, lights flickering in the windows of the underwater houses, and standing in the town square, looking up toward the surface, looking up at Elias, is a figure, a man in a lighthouse keeper's coat. Silas. The boat stops directly over the town square. The water here is so thin, it feels like Elias is floating on air. He looks down at Silas. Silas waves, a slow, welcoming gesture. He points to a massive clock tower in the center of the underwater city. The clock face is huge, glowing white. Elias squints. The time on the underwater clock is identical to the pocket watch in Elias's vest. 12 o'clock. The hands on the clock begin to move forward. He understands the final piece of the puzzle. The lighthouse on the rock wasn't a warning to stay away. It was a bridge. The people didn't drown. They didn't die. They just sank. They moved to a place where time flows differently, a place where the noise of the world couldn't reach them, a sanctuary for the overthinkers, for the deep feelers. The surface is too loud, Elias. The world up there forgets to listen. Down here, we hear everything. Are you ready to come home? Elias looks back at the mainland, at the dark horizon where his job, his lonely apartment, and his stack of inspection papers wait for him. Then he looks down at the glowing city. He stands up in the boat. He takes off his heavy wool coat. He takes off his boots. He isn't going to jump. He is going to descend. As he sinks, he expects the cold to seize him. He expects his lungs to burn. But the water is warm, and he finds he doesn't need to hold his breath.
We spend our entire lives fighting gravity. We fight to stand up, to build high, to keep our heads above water. But there is a profound relief in finally letting go. Elias floats downward. He expects the pressure to crush him, but the water here feels lighter than air. It embraces him like a heavy blanket on a winter night. He takes a breath. It is cool, crisp, and tastes faintly of ozone and old paper, the same smell from inside the lighthouse tower. This isn't water. It is history. It is memory liquefied. He lands softly on the cobblestone street of the drowned city.
He looks down at his boots. They kick up a small cloud of silt, which swirls and settles in a perfect spiral. Elias looks up. Far, far above him, the surface of the ocean looks like a rippling sky of mercury. The beam from the lighthouse pierces through the water, acting as a sun for this submerged world. It casts long, dancing shadows across the town square. The town is not empty. Elias sees them now. The lost. A woman sits on a bench made of white stone, reading a book that floats in front of her. She doesn't look drowned, she looks peaceful. Two children chase a school of glowing fish around a statue. They are laughing, but the sound travels as a series of melodic bubbles. They notice Elias. They don't stare with hollow eyes. They smile, a gentle, knowing smile, like they are welcoming a guest to a secret party. Elias stops. Standing in front of the great clock tower is the man in the coat. Silas Vance. He looks exactly as he did in the old portraits, though perhaps younger, less burdened. The lines of stress on his forehead have smoothed out. Silas holds out a hand. He is holding a lantern, identical to the one Elias left in the tower, but this one burns with the blue flame. "You took the stairs," Silas says. His voice echoes. Most people try to swim. It takes them longer to realize they don't have to struggle. Elias reaches out and takes the lantern. It feels solid, real. "Where is this? Am I dead?" Elias asks. Silas shakes his head slowly. "No, death is an ending, Elias. This is a pause." Silas turns and begins to walk toward the clock tower. He gestures for Elias to follow. "The world up there," Silas continues, pointing a thumb toward the shimmering surface, "moves too fast. It demands answers before you have finished asking the questions. It demands noise when you need silence." They reach the base of the tower. The door is open. Inside, the gears are visible. Massive brass cogs the size of carriages are turning slowly, grinding against each other with a deep, comforting bass sound. But they aren't turning time forward, they are recycling it. We call this the reservoir, Silas explains. It is where the what-ifs go to live. Every time a person on the surface overthinks a moment, every time they lay awake at night wondering how life could have been different, that energy comes here. Elias touches one of the gears. He feels a jolt of emotion, a memory of a girl he once loved but never spoke to. He pulls his hand back, shocked. "So this city," Elias stammers, "it's built of unfinished thoughts," Silas finishes. "It is a sanctuary for the overthinkers, for the people who feel too deeply for the surface world. We keep the lighthouse lit so they know they are not crazy. They are just waiting for the right frequency." Elias walks out of the tower and looks at the city again. It makes sense now, the comfort he felt in the lighthouse, the writing on the walls, the feeling that he didn't belong in his office job, in the noisy city of the mainland. He belonged here, in the quiet. But then a thought strikes him. "The logbook," Elias says. "It said I had to close the door." Silas stops walking. He turns to Elias. The smile fades slightly, replaced by a look of serious responsibility. "The door must be closed, yes. The rift cannot stay open forever, where the ocean will drain into the dream. The balance must be kept." Silas points to the surface. "You have a choice, Elias. You are the key. You can go back up, seal the rift, and live your life on the surface. You will forget this place. You will forget us, but you will be successful. You will be normal." Silas steps closer. "Or you can stay. You can become the keeper of the reservoir. But if you stay, you can never go back. The door locks from the outside." Then he looks at the blue lantern in his hand. He looks at the peace on Silas's face. "And if I stay?" Elias asks. "What do I do?" Silas smiles. "You tell stories. You organize the memories. You make sure the light stays lit for the next wanderer who needs to find their way home." Elias has to decide: the world of facts, logic, and loneliness, or the world of mystery, emotion, and eternal quiet. He looks at the lantern. The flame dances, waiting for his answer. There is a specific kind of silence that comes right before a life-changing decision. It is not an empty silence. It is a heavy one. It is the sound of a page turning. Elias looks at the surface. Up there, he has a name. He has a title. Elias Thorne, Inspector. Up there, the world makes sense. Maps have borders. Clocks move forward. Gravity holds you down. But up there, he is always cold. He looks back at Silas. He looks at the drowned city, glowing with the warmth of 1,000 unfinished stories. Here, nothing makes sense. But here, he feels warm. Elias reaches into his pocket. He pulls out his pocket watch, the symbol of his old life, the symbol of schedules, deadlines, and limited time. He holds it out. He lets go. "I'm staying," Elias whispers.
The words don't just travel through the water. They vibrate through the foundations of the city. They travel up the beam of light, all the way to the glass lens in the tower above. Silas nods. He doesn't look surprised. He looks relieved. "Then the watch is ended," Silas says softly, "and a new watch begins." Silas hands Elias the heavy iron key to the tower, not the physical tower on the rock, but the metaphorical tower that connects the worlds.
As Elias touches the key, Silas begins to fade, not dying, just resolving, like mist burning off in the morning sun. His duty is done. He has found his replacement. Elias looks up. The surface of the ocean is sealing. The path back is gone. The empty boat above is cut loose. It drifts away, bobbing aimlessly on the dark waves of the North Atlantic. Elias is no longer a visitor. He is the keeper. 2 days later, a search party found Elias Thorne's boat drifting 5 miles east of the island. It was empty. There was no sign of struggle, no sign of violence. Just his heavy wool coat folded neatly on the bench and his logbook. The officials opened the book, expecting to find coordinates, inspection notes, or a final will. But the pages were blank. All the ink had faded, except for the very last page. There was just one sentence written in a handwriting that looked remarkably calm. "The light is not for the ships. The light is for those who are still looking."
The authorities closed the file. They declared it a tragic accident. "Lost at sea," they wrote. They boarded up the lighthouse. They removed the lens. They left the Isle of Morne to the seagulls and the salt. But stories like this don't end with paperwork. Fast forward to today. Sailors who pass the Isle of Morne at night still report something strange. The tower is empty. The lantern room is stripped bare. There is no electricity on the rock. And yet, on nights when the fog is thick, on nights when the world feels too loud and your mind feels too crowded, they say you can see it. A blue light, turning. 1, 2, 3, flash. It doesn't appear on any navigational chart. It doesn't guide the oil tankers or the cruise ships. It isn't for them. It's for you. So tonight, if you are lying awake, overthinking your past, wondering about the what-ifs, or feeling like you don't quite fit in this waking world, close your eyes. Visualize that dark ocean. Look for the flash. Elias is there. He is winding the clock. He is keeping the embers warm. He is making sure that your unfinished thoughts have a place to go. You are not lost. You're just waiting for the tide to turn. Sleep well, traveler. The light is on. Visualize that dark ocean. Look for the flash. Elias is there. He is winding the clock. He is keeping the embers warm. He is making sure that your unfinished thoughts have a place to go. You are not lost. You're just
waiting for the tide to turn. Sleep well, traveler. The light is on.